Welcome to Morgan's video blog, Morgan's online blog in video format. Today I have a long post for you, but I think it's really important. Why you should consider an agent if you're hoping to traditionally publish. You can only spend so long revising and editing a novel. Somewhere between revision 3 and revision 12, you're probably going to be done with your book. But now what? If you want to get your novel traditionally published, you're gonna have to query some agents. But why? Well, to publish your novel, you have 4 options. There are 4 types of publishing generally. First off is traditional publishing. It's well established, it has its own editors and printers, it has reach for getting your novel stocked in stores and online, and it has marketing influence for getting your novel in front of reviewers and the public eye. Second type of publishing is small publishers. They have their own editors and printers. Some have reach for getting your novel stocked, and some have marketing influence for getting your novel in front of editors and in the public eye. Third, you have indie publishers. They let you direct and design while facilitating the creation of your print and or ebook. And sometimes they're connected to traditional or small publishers. This is a separate branch, but it has some of their support. There's minimal gatekeeping, and it's great, especially for niche books. And the fourth type of publishing, self-publishing, where you're completely in control. There are no gatekeepers, and you're responsible for everything from line edits to covers to marketing. So each branch of publishing has its own fans, some more fervent than others, but the only one that almost requires and works best with an agent is traditional publishing. So why would a person choose to try traditional publishing? The biggest reason someone chooses to go traditional is because you only get one debut novel. Once you've published something, either on your own or with a smaller agency, you're now an established author, which is great, right? You've got credentials. Well, if you liked the results and the people, if any, that you worked with, this is great and there's no problem. But if you think you might ever consider going traditional, they're gonna look at the book sales of everything you've published, and if they're lackluster, that can sway them against you. You can always query agents, and if you have no takers, decide to go with any of the other publishing options. As there are fewer traditional publishers and they tend to go for less risky novels, the chances of being able to publish with the other 3 types of publishing houses are much higher. I mean, it's 100% for self-publishing without traditional publishers. It's easy to work your way from larger traditional agencies down to smaller companies. It's a lot harder to do that in reverse. So if you want to go with a traditional agency, why not just query the publishers? Isn't the agent just a middleman? Why query them and wait for them to query editors at publishing houses when I can just query the editors myself? Well, first off, for those who are unaware, editors and editors are 2 different things. Lowercase editors are people who deal with some sort of manuscript editing. Developmental edits, they deal with plot, pacing, and characterization. Copy editing deals with word choice and phrasing. Line edits deal with grammar, formatting, and punctuation, etc. There's a lot of types of editing. Uppercase editors are heads of publishing houses or branches and decide, often with marketing's approval, if your novel should be published at all. Things they consider: the quality of your novel, the marketability of your novel, the brand. Is it in line with the types of books that this agency, this publishing house, typically publishes? And how saturated is that genre market right now? Secondly, many editors only accept submissions from agents. If you don't have one, you're just locked out of that market entirely. Third, with both agents and editors, once you've queried and they've said no, unless you've drastically changed your novel and spent quality time, like months or years, revising your novel, you can't requery. I mean, nothing's stopping you, but it's considered rude, ignorant, and can get you blacklisted and or sent directly to their trash folder. Which means even if you get an agent later, your agent won't be able to query that publisher again. And that agent might have known a way to pitch your manuscript in a way that would appeal to that editor, or know the right edits you needed to make in your manuscript to make it appeal to marketing. You've basically given away your chance to work with that editor because you didn't know the market. So once you decide to query an agent, why would agents reject your manuscript? I mean, it's amazing. You've spent how much time working on it? Agents aren't just there to skim off your money. They're there to see how far they can take you and your book. The better you do, the better for everyone. And many of them work on commission. When they take on a project, they have a lot of things to consider. Of course, they're considering the quality of your story. And different things appeal to different people. They're looking for a story to fall in love with. They need to be in love with your story just as much as you are if they're going to have the drive to sell it to a publisher. And they need to consider how much work your story needs. Even if they love it, if it needs a lot of edits and revisions to get it ready for the market, they might decide they just don't have the time to commit to it right now. Another thing agents have to think about is how full is their current workload. If they took you on, but then didn't have time for their already existing clients, things are going to start slipping through the cracks and nobody's going to get quality representation. Another thing agents have to consider, how similar is your manuscript to their clients' active submissions? They don't want to be competing against their own clients for publishers. Final thing agents have to worry about, if the market is even buying novels like yours right now. Even the best book can be skipped if the market isn't right. If this is the case, try shelving it and querying again in 1 to 5 years. After 5 years, you're probably going to need to revise for modern tastes. But with such tough odds to get an agent, why even bother? Well, what are the benefits of having an agent? Well, they know the market. Many of them have contacts at publishing houses, which doesn't mean your book's going to get published, but it does mean they know how to tailor your submission based on their knowledge of the editor's likes and dislikes. They know how to read contracts, so you don't need to hire a lawyer. They can recognize a good contract, and they know what loopholes to watch out for. Some agents are even editorial agents. They'll give you revisions and edits to make on your manuscript before it goes on submission, or, the agent queries publishers. And some agents, they want to nurture your career. They're not just here for one book. They want you to grow and to learn and to get better. And the more stuff you write, the more they can sell. They want a long-term relationship. The benefits sound good, but there's one question. Where do you find agents to query? Well, first off, not all agents are made equal. Same with publishers of any variety. Always do your due diligence before querying someone. Sites to check for the legitimacy of an agent, agency, or publisher: Science Fiction Writers of America's Writer Beware, the Thumbs Down Agent List, and Predators and Editors. Warning signs when you're checking out an agent: you should never pay a reader fee. Never, never, never. Vanity anthologies. They promise publishing credits, but no pay and minimal editing. Do you really want writing credits from a poorly edited, cheaply made anthology? Contests. There are many honorable contests, but there are many more small or online contests that have none to poor reputations. And some charge large entry fees and publish all entrants and are basically worthless. Another warning sign, solicitations, especially with poor English, high commissions, like 10 to 15 is the standard commission for domestic sales and 20 for foreign rights. So if an agent is asking for more than that, beware. Another thing to watch out for is fixed fees. So now that the buyer beware is out of the way, where are we looking for these agents? Well, 5 sites and books with literary agents and their desires that I like to look at are querytracker.net, agentquery.com, Manuscript wishlist site, manuscriptwishlist.com, the hashtag MSWL on Twitter, and the book Guide to Literary Agents, whatever year. You can find it on Amazon or at your local library. So don't forget, these things can be out of date, so you've got to still look everybody up. So now that you can find a list of agents and make sure they're legitimate, how do you pick that all-important agent to query? Just because you found an agent on a list doesn't mean they're the right one for you. There's still a few things you need to do before querying, and this means going to their website and or their agency's website. When in doubt, defer to the preferences stated on the personal website. Step 1, make sure they represent your genre and age range, otherwise you'll be rejected out of hand. Step 2, make sure they're currently open to queries. Agents often close for holidays, vacations, or when their backlog gets too big. Third, see how much experience they have and where. Less established agents can be good for several reasons. They often have more time, so you have better response times. They are actively building their lists, so more queries are requested. If they're at an established agency, they can draw on their mentors and coworkers' agency knowledge and connections to help submit your work. Established agents can be good as well. They have connections of their own. They are experienced at recognizing what will sell and how to sell it. And they just plain have experience. That's useful. Another thing to consider, do you want an editorial agent? Some agents will submit your novel in basically its current form, and other more editorial agents will give you marked up manuscripts and ask for you to revise them before they submit to an editor. Finally, read the agency's wish list and biography to see if they just flat out appeal to you. Maybe you like their voice, even if it's just a bio or a tweet. Maybe you think your story is a good match for their list of favorite books. Or maybe you're a fan of the books they've agented and feel that your manuscript is a good fit with these. Just be careful. Don't set your heart on one agent. It can take dozens and dozens of queries before you get an agent. Steel your heart and treat it like Tumblr. Wait for that agent that swipes right back at you. Finally, how do you keep from getting form rejections? If you're querying and all you're getting are form rejections and no answer means no thank you, it's time to look at your submission package. 1. When you're first querying, send out 5 to 10 queries at a time. If all you're getting is form rejections, you need to revamp your query and first chapter. Second, if you're getting partial requests and then form rejections, look at your pacing and your character development. Finally, if you're getting form rejections on fulls, The problem might be with your ending. Make sure it lives up to the promise of the novel. So now you know why someone might choose to traditionally publish, why they need an agent, and how to find the right one. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck getting your story out into the world. See you next week.